Hi guys, so let's just jump right into the communication process. So step number one, it is sender has an idea. So at this point you are going to clarify, analyze, and think of what your purpose of your message is going to be and how it will affect your audience. So for my example is that I would like banks to be open from 8 to 5, Monday through Thursday, and then Fridays 9 to 6. Okay? So now, step number two, sender encodes the message. So this is where I am going to try to put background information and the culture. This is how I'm going to try to pick out subtle words and professional backgrounds to say why I want to change the hours of banking. So, for example, going back to my banking example, I would say I believe that banks should be open Monday through Thursday, 8 to 5, because those days seem to be a little bit slower for the banking industry. And 9 to 6 on Fridays, because the majority of people get paid Fridays, and employers sometimes give out their checks late to their employees. So that's why I believe they should give their or change their hours 9 to 6. And how I'm trying to encourage feedback is that I will say, "Well, have you been to a bank before?" Mostly everybody has, and when do you go? And when you go, is it steady? Is it busy? Is it slow? So it's just something so it gets the audience thinking of when they have gone to the bank. Now, step number three, the sender selects the channel. So this is where I'm going to try to think, am I gonna give my audience this presentation through a video, through a chat, through a letter, a recording, smartphone, either one. So now, what I would like to do for this example that I'm trying to do is that I would like to do it in a meeting, because I feel that in person would give a little bit more of an importance and touching effect on my audience, because since it is a financial topic, a lot of people are going to be really concerned of why we're trying to change their hours, because banking is the way they live by, because that's where they have all their money and their way of living. So in this time I would have it again once in person, and well, I would have it in person, and then after that, once they already know that I'm trying to change the hours, I would set up posters and everything. But going back to how I'm going to be doing it when I'm doing it in person, I would like for there to be little distractions, because I would really like to get my point across. I wouldn't do it in an area where there's like a party going on or anything. I would do it in a conference room in a professional environment, so people know that it's a really important topic to discuss. Okay? Now, step number four, the receiver decodes the message. So this is where the receiver is going to be thinking of, oh, well, do I like this idea? Do I not? Why should I? And this is when the receiver should be a little bit more open-minded than closed-minded, because you don't want to be you don't want to set your mind to yes or no without hearing the pros and cons of it. So this is where you should again be open-minded and avoid prejudging. Don't anticipate. Just wait till the sender is fully done with their message and their point across, so that way you know exactly what points they have provided you with, and if they're reasonable enough for that to be an actual action to be taken care of. So, for my example as a receiver, going back to when I asked the question, when am I at the bank? At that point in step number four, I'd be like, oh, well, you know what? I do go to the bank on Fridays and it is really busy. So maybe they should be a little bit open later. They should be open later, because when they're closing at 5, everyone's trying to get in a rush. And every time I go out, there's a last minute customer walking up to the door. So I do believe that it's a good idea. Okay. Now, step number 5 would be the feedback returns to the sender. So this is where the sender becomes the receiver and the receiver is now the sender, because now the receiver, gets to say whether they like it or not, what the pros and cons they think it is, and it just goes back around, so that way they can actually get a full grip of why this is being changed, and not just one person's point of view, but a whole audience worth of knowledge and why they should think, or opinion and why they should think it should change or not. So for example, the receiver can say, oh well, you know what, Monday through Thursday is a little bit slower than Fridays, but what happens when the 1st and the 15th come around, because those days are really high busy transaction days for the bank industry. So maybe we should think about opening Saturdays, so that way if someone can't make it Monday through Thursday, or because they work graveyard, or they could out till 10, or and same way Fridays, if 6 p.m. doesn't work for them, they can always come in Saturdays from like 10 to 2. And then this is where the process keeps continuing, and until they come to an agreement of, yes, this point should be like this, but we have perfected it to be this. So this is why it's really important to have a communication process, because if you don't communicate your ideas and thoughts, you can be missing out on a lot of important aspects of why it should be done and why it shouldn't. So again, this was the communication process, and I really hope that I was able to explain it right for you. Thank you.